Ladies and gentlemen, good morning and welcome to the Future of Business panel, the extravaganza panel, 2 hours. We've split this into two separate panels to accommodate the different speakers that we have. The first one is called Investing in Competitiveness, and we will look at how Cyprus is developing into a more holistic, a more comprehensive economy based on competitiveness and productivity, rather than solely being based on a low-tax and low-cost environment. We will have one keynote speaker for panel one, which is Ms. Georgia Papa, who is from Pyrgouvakis law firm, and she will explore some of the regulatory changes that Cyprus has made, which, if we consider the cumulative impact of these things over the past 5 years, they really amount to a very determined effort to change the competitive environment and develop a level playing field in regulatory terms here on the island. We will then seat the panel. We have an incredible panel this morning with 12 people, and each of them representing an incredible range of expertise and knowledge. The panel structure will be essentially a quick introduction by the members. I will then ask, probably, if we have time, but one question. And then depending on how we go in terms of time, we can either have a short discussion internally or we can accept some questions from the audience. We should be finished by about 11:05, 11:10, whereupon we'll have a short break to change everything up here, and then we will hear from the Minister of Research, Innovation and Digital Policy, who will be the second keynote speaker, and then we'll have the second panel, which will be 8 people. So it's a very ambitious program. I think Paul has done an amazing job of identifying really some amazing talent and some real business leaders here in Cyprus. So I hope we will all get something out of this. And let me start by welcoming Georgia. Georgia is a highly experienced lawyer working for Pyrgouvakis, and she's been involved not only on the legal side, but she's obviously very well versed in a lot of these policy initiatives, having implemented many of them for her clients. So please, let's give a round of applause for Georgia.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Thank you so much, Philip, for the warm welcome. Thank you, everybody, for being here today. It's a true honor to stand before you today at the Cyprus Diaspora Forum, addressing the pivotal Future of Business session. It is with great pleasure and enthusiasm that I address my greetings to each one of you, especially those joining us from abroad. Today, we embark on a journey of connection, collaboration, and celebration of the diverse and vibrant community that is diaspora. Your presence here enriches this gathering, and we are honored to have you as we explore shared experiences, exchange ideas, and chart a course for a future filled with opportunities. As we don't have a lot of time, I want to delve really quickly how Cyprus strategically invests in competitiveness with a specific focus on technology. So one of the main issues that I think it's a global issue, it's the tech talent shortage. This is an issue that we see globally, and Cyprus has already spotted this concern, and the Council of Ministers approved on October 15, 2021, the strategy for attracting business for activities in Cyprus. So therefore, we had the transformation of the existing fast-track business activation mechanism into a business facilitation unit, which is now known as the BFU. The BFU provides guidance and information on the necessary licenses that are required for a company to operate in Cyprus, as well as to accelerate the issuance and renewal of employment and residence permits. We also had a new policy for the employment of third country nationals with high skills. So we had the simplification and broadening of the existing policy for high-skilled individuals with a minimum gross monthly salary of 2.5K. Their permits are issued within 1 month, and the duration of the residence and employment permit is up to 3 years. These persons also have the right to unite with their family in Cyprus, and their family has also the right to work and reside in Cyprus. We also had the digital nomad visa, which was a quite good initiative for people who are freelancers, self-employed, or work remotely, which represents, I think, this modern era that we're now living in. They have to make 3.5K per month, and certain other criteria also need to be satisfied. And they're allowed to stay here for 1 year with the option to renew for another 2. They also have the right to unite with their family in Cyprus too. We also have tax incentives for high-skilled individuals. We have a tax exemption of 50% to new non-domicile employees with employment remuneration of €55,000 per year and above for a period of 10 years. We also have tax exemption of 50% for existing non-domicile employees with employment remuneration of €100,000 per year and above for an extended period of 17 years. The naturalization process has also been made easier for people with high skills. Instead of 7 years, that's how long normally the process takes, high-skilled third country employees who are residing and integrated into the Cyprus society will be eligible to apply for naturalization after only 5 years. And if you have proved that you speak the Greek language adequately, you have a relevant certificate or something similar, a further reduction to 4 years will apply. Education in Cyprus has also adapted to the new reality and is committed in supplying more skilled graduates to the labor market. The local universities provide excellent bachelor and master programs in computer sciences and technology, consistently producing tech-savvy candidates to join the ranks of some of the world's leading ICT companies. The University of Nicosia is a great example, which broke new ground in university adoption of blockchain technology and offers the first certified online blockchain technology course and the world's first master degree for digital currencies. Startups is booming in Cyprus. It's a market that is now on the rise. Attracting more talent and innovation is key to Cyprus' efforts to secure a digital future, which is why the country has introduced financial incentives for innovative SMEs and startups launching on the island. We have seen the creation of the Cyprus Equity Fund. The Cyprus Equity Fund has been approved earlier this year, whose size is expected to be in the range of 37.5 million and which will be managed by the European Investment Fund. The state's contribution to the fund will be 30 million, with the rest coming from private capital. The fund will invest mainly in startups and innovative Cypriot businesses with the aim of covering the financing gap that has been spotted in the Cypriot market. We also have the Cyprus Startup Visa Scheme, which is expiring shortly, so hurry up. The visa schemes allows talented entrepreneurs from third country individuals or a team to reside and work in Cyprus in order to establish, operate, or develop a startup with a high growth potential. The scheme supports the establishment of new innovative startup or the move of our already established innovative startup to Cyprus. In Cyprus, we also have several incubators and accelerators which provide mentorship, funding, workspace, and networking opportunities to startups. These organizations assist startups in refining their business plans and navigating the local ecosystem. We also have tax incentives for investors that are investing in startups. The tax incentives provide that qualifying investors who make risk finance investments in innovative SMEs may deduct such costs of such investments from their taxable income subject to certain conditions. We also have the Science Center of Excellence, formerly known as RISE, which is the Research and Innovation Center of Excellence in Cyprus, focusing on interactive media, smart systems, and technology transfer in the region. It is a joint venture of the 3 public universities of Cyprus, University of Cyprus, Cyprus University of Technology, and Open University of Cyprus, the Municipality of Nicosia, and 2 renowned international partners, the Max Planck Institute of Informatics, Germany, and the University College, United Kingdom. It set out to meet the challenge with a total potential of funding more than 30 million euros for the first 7 years from a Horizon 2020 teaming action. Cyprus is also being promoted as a technology haircuttering location. Several major international ICT companies have long operated regional haircutters in Cyprus. Amongst these are NCR, a world leader in consumer transactions, wargaming, a world-renowned video gamer developer, Viber, which many people don't know this, the popular online communication platform, Amdocs, a leading multinational and software services provider. With tech proving a growing sector in Cyprus, more than 100 tech companies joined forces in 2021 to showcase that Cyprus is an ideal place to live, work, and innovate. They launched Tech Island, a non-profit organization with a mission to promote the local tech ecosystem. Of course, the weather helps, but we have to be honest. These companies are here mostly for the beneficial tax system. Cyprus holds one of the most favorable corporate tax rates in the EU at 12.5%, and a lot of sources of income are exempt from Cyprus corporate tax, such as dividend income, profit from the sale of securities, interest income that did not arise in the normal course of business, and profits from a permanent establishment. Cyprus also has an IP box, which is quite popular. Cyprus offers technology companies the potential of an effective tax rate of 2.5% on profit resulting from exploitation of their intellectual property, such as computer software, patents, and other intangible assets. This has become known as the IP box. Also, Cyprus residents that are tax residents but non-domiciled in Cyprus are exempt from defense tax on dividend and interest income. Cyprus also is committed to completing a tax reform in the next years. In October 2023, Cyprus launched a new integrated tax transformation project focused on streamlining, modernizing, and enhancing the territory's tax regime and laws. The new tax system will be set, of course, to maintain Cyprus as a competitive financial center. Cyprus tax reform discussions are currently focusing on environmental tax reform measures. The project is being led by experts from the Center of Economic Research at the University of Cyprus. And last, but of course not least, AI. Artificial intelligence is the cornerstone of the 4th industrial revolution and is redefining how businesses operate. From optimizing processes to enhancing decision-making, AI is a catalyst for competitiveness. The adoption of AI in business sectors in Cyprus is on the rise, and various industries have started incorporating AI technologies into their operations. In January 2020, the Council of Ministers approved the National Artificial Intelligence Strategy of Cyprus, which is focusing now on priority areas. We already have recognized internationally Cyprus companies in the AI sphere. In 2020, Omilia, a dynamic innovator in conversational AI, has raised 20 million from Grafton Capital to continue the growth and adoption of its advanced human-like conversational AI. Omilia provides an innovative AI platform for automated conversational customer care. Cyprus' commitment to innovation and competitiveness is evident. Another big reform in 2020 was the official establishment of a Deputy Ministry of Research, Innovation, and Digital Policy to guide the country through its digital transformation. By supporting scientific research, investing in innovative entrepreneurship, and implementing an ambitious digital transformation reform, the Deputy Ministry aspires to develop a modern and efficient state, competitive at European and international level, and a dynamic digital economy where every citizen and every business will be able to grow and prosper. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me here today.
Georgia, thank you for this very brilliant summary and introduction. And could I now call for the first panel to come up and be seated? Is Mario Stanousis here? Mario Stanousis, would he like to come up? There he is. So it's definitely going to be a challenge keeping to the time limits. So if we could, I will be asking you first of all to introduce yourselves, name, company, and what you're dealing with. And then we will have a round of questions. Please keep your answers short to between 2 to 3 minutes. And then finally, if we have time, we'll open it up to questions from the audience. Let me start out by asking Marios, who is from Invest Cyprus. I think I met Marios back in the 1990s. He was originally a banker before joining Invest in Cyprus, and I think if there's one person in Cyprus who knows everybody, it's probably Marios. But could you introduce yourself, and then we will just follow the, sitting down, and we'll just follow the course coming this way.
Hello. Yeah. Thank you, Philip. Thank you for the invitation from the organizers. Yes, my previous life, I was a banker, and I was lucky enough to move before the crisis, 2008, to investment promotion. First of all, I would like to welcome you all. Good morning, and say that
just a quick intro, and then let's introduce everyone.
I am the CEO of Invest Cyprus, and we are a small team, and our role is to promote, facilitate, and also advocate for foreign investment into Cyprus.
Thank you.
Morning, I'm Nicholas Kyriakidis. Well done, Paul. As I said yesterday, this is a magnificent initiative, and I am the founding member of the Cyprus Forum, a policy conference that I will talk more about it later.
Good morning, I'm Anna Perdromo. I'm a communications and diversity, equity and inclusion consultant. I'm 52, so in terms of equity, I need 1 minute for each decade to say what I've done up to now. So basically at the moment, I am immersed in my PhD journey exploring human-computer interaction. Back in 5 years ago, I published a book about women that led to the establishment of a foundation focused on women's rights, but more. And I am the leader of the Culture First Global Community of Leaders in Cyprus. And at the same time, I initiated the Wikimedia Community User Group of Cyprus.
Thank you. Thank you, Anna. Stefan?
Hi, good morning, everybody. My name is Stefan Nolte. I'm the president of the Cyprus Germany Business Association, an association which is creating a bridge between Germany and Cyprus and supports Cyprus businesses. Originally, I'm German. I'm from Lübeck in North Germany, which I left for good in 1984. And since then, I'm living in various countries, in Cyprus since June 2008. I run my own company, Shanda Consult. We provide several types of business consulting. Thanks.
Kalimera, good morning. I'm Raluca Iwanaman, founder of R7 Limited, business consultancy firm, and also vice president of ICC Women's Network Cyprus that sits under the umbrella of Chamber of Commerce and Industry.
Kalimera, good morning everyone. I'm Philippos Aristotelous, a lawyer, business consultant, and a coach. I help leaders and organizations build successful cultures.
Thank you. Hi, can you hear me? Yeah, okay. So my name's Irene Lukaidis. I'm the founder and managing director of Grow Sustainability Consulting, where we consult organizations on how to conduct their business ethically, responsibly, and sustainably. I'm also a board member of FIBA Eurobasket 2025, leading the sustainability committee there. Thank you.
Hello, is this on? Yes, it is. I'm Katerina Andreou. I'm the founder of HR Innovate. We're a specialist finance and tech recruitment agency headquartered in Nicosia, but we recruit globally.
Hi there. My name is Marina Zavedeu and not Christina Shailas, that's a mistake. I'm the CEO of the Aspen Trust Group, a corporate service provider in Nicosia. I'm involved in a lot of international transactions all over the world. I'm also the president of the Women's India Chamber of Commerce in Cyprus. So I would probably wear the Cyprus, but also the India flag today. Thank you.
Good morning. Hello. Well, if I'm Stavros Stavro, if we were in Larnaca, I would have said I'm the husband of Stavroula, but since we are in Limassol, I would say I'm the president of the Cyprus Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and we would talk more about the Cyprus Chamber later on and its role and function. Thank you.
Hi, well, I think my time is up because we had to switch microphone too many times. My name is Branka van der Linden, and I'm the founder of Meaningful Synergies, but other than that, I just love working with people. It's as simple as that. So we aim for big impact, successful businesses, and happy people. So that's our secret recipe. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So I'll start with the questions, and if we could please keep the answers to about 3 minutes. 2 would be even better. Starting again with Invest in Cyprus, we had a really interesting presentation from Georgia on the different initiatives. From your perspective, really at the forefront of attracting investors to Cyprus, what would you say are the main non-tax issues that they're interested in?
Interesting question. I will not go into the tax. I mean, maybe most of you know the tax advantages, but focus a bit on a few very important initiatives that the government has taken, the previous government, but also this government in continuing the policy of investment promotion and attraction. First and most importantly is the business facilitation unit that exists and operates in the Ministry of Energy, with collaboration with Invest Cyprus, providing a fast-track procedure to all and every aspect, whether it's licensing, whether it's working permits, or any other issue that the foreign investor, the company, or the employees are facing. We are talking also about a fast-track procedure for non-EU employees and talent that is required to work in Cyprus because we cannot find some positions and talent in Cyprus. Within 4 weeks, the talented people can secure their working permits and work in the company. We had occasions where multinationals, they decided after benchmarking jurisdictions to select Cyprus, and from the time that they made the decision, in 2 months, they had an office in Cyprus. They had 20 people, expats, with full working permits, bank accounts, and selling and contributing to the economy internationally from Cyprus. So the fast-track business facilitation unit, the non-EU employees, fast access and working permits, and together with Invest Cyprus and all the other government services, as well as regulators, we work in tandem, giving special attention to the companies and to the employees of the companies in order to be able to start and operate successfully in Cyprus. Thank you.
Thank you. I do want to confirm that Invest in Cyprus is extremely reactive, so if there are investors from the diaspora that have questions, Mario is really the best person to contact about that. We're not going to go in line with questions. We're going to flip around. So our next question is to Mr. Stavros Stavru from the Cyprus Chamber of Commerce. The Chamber is one of the 2 large business organizations here in Cyprus, and for a long time, it's been trying to get better working conditions, better investment conditions, a more competitive economy, and so on and so forth. And part of that is also the European Enterprise Network, which is actually based at the back of the room. So if you're a diaspora member and you really want information about how business is working and you need business support, I think the Chamber is one of the best places to start with. Mr. Stavro, could I ask you, what are some of the most recent initiatives in terms of the priorities you have for making Cyprus a more competitive economy?
Thank you, Philip. First of all, I would like to point out that the Cyprus Chamber of Commerce is an organization that is there, established by law in 1968, dates back to 1926, but the law was established in 1968, where it promotes business in Cyprus for a strong economy within a healthy community. That's its aim. That's its vision. It's not there to promote the interest of any individual businessman. In doing so, we take a lot of initiatives in promoting policies. And recently, we have worked on a number of policies which will attract new skilled personnel in Cyprus. As Mario said, and as Georgia said earlier on, we need skilled personnel in Cyprus right now, and this is where we are concentrating on. Let's not forget that 2023 was the year of the development of new skills, as it was named by the European Union. And we have made a number of seminars, a number of promotions in order to promote that. We know that the new world will bring new jobs, and we have to be prepared for it. Other initiatives we take in promoting Cyprus and the requirements of the island right now is getting people together, either in Cyprus or abroad, through delegations, through seminars, and here is where diaspora can do a great job and help us in promoting that, because they are our people out there. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The next question is for Stefan Nolte. Stefan is something of a reverse diaspora like myself. We actually came to Cyprus and settled here. And Stefan has very in-depth experience, not just in terms of attracting German and other investment here in Cyprus, but you also have a lot of exposure to Dubai and some other jurisdictions. So you're very well placed to understand the competitiveness from an international viewpoint. Could I ask, from your experience with German companies, what are they looking for when they decide to invest in Cyprus? And then how do they evaluate that, maybe 1 or 2 years after the investment?
Well, I'm neither diaspora nor an expat, because expats are people who leave the country temporarily. I left it for good in 1984. And I live here in 15 years or something like this. Well, German companies, when they, or if they plan to go abroad to either relocate or to set up a subsidiary in another country, a regional headquarter perhaps, etc., they look, of course, at many points, and Germans, nerds as they are, they look into everything, every little detail, twice at least. And they make a very brain-based evaluation without involving feelings because of the nice nature and good food in Cyprus. And this often, unfortunately, makes us losing opportunities. One thing they look for is the availability of sufficient labor. And the other speakers mentioned this already, the lack of talent. This is not something new. I experienced this with inquirers from Germany since 15 years. It hasn't changed yet. The education system is still going old-fashioned. To attract people in Cyprus, to attract foreign companies or foreign talents to come to Cyprus, there's a number of incentives. But all these incentives are reactive measures. We face a problem, we struggle, and then we try to overcome it. We do not have visions, looking ahead into the future, asking ourselves, where do we want to be in 20 years, and start preparing this from today. And coming back to German companies coming here, we faced quite interesting problems. This was the location of non-polluting industrial production, non-polluting at all. We could not find an appropriate spot or plot that would have been given to these companies. Rejections everywhere. We, as a small, tiny country, being on top of this, an island, always facing additional transport costs in terms of exporting goods, we have to focus on high-value goods where the transport costs play only a little role. To do so, there are many opportunities, there are many possibilities, but we do not target them, we do not attract them. We rather still play the tax advantages, which is good, I'm not complaining, I'm benefiting myself, but that's not enough. And the bureaucracy we have in the country is still disturbing, if I may say so. And nobody shall please tell me that in Germany it's not better. It's true, it's not better. But people want to go to a better place, not to a place which is like the place where they're already. And just for your information, during the last 3 years, all major industrial investments of German companies have been done abroad, outside of Germany, for good reasons. There's a huge outflow of industry, of companies, of entrepreneurs who go anywhere and everywhere in the world, including Cyprus, in case of smaller entrepreneurs. So the interest of German companies in Cyprus is not overwhelming. As a regional headquarter, it makes not a big sense because all our neighboring countries have problems. There are no really substantial markets. Syria is war, Lebanon is war, Jordan is poor. Egypt is on the range now, it's very critical. Saudi Arabia is not easily accessible for maritime transport, you have to go all around with the vessel. The UAE, if you want to go to the Gulf markets, you better settle in the UAE than in Cyprus, of course. Turkey is not accessible for us since ages for political reasons, a market of 85 or 83 million people. This is a big issue, and this is a big issue which I heard from American companies as well since long years. So, yes, what can I say, Philip? The interest is limited, and the interest which is there often does not translate into an action, unfortunately. Thank you.
Thank you. So, essentially, from what I hear you saying, the talent and education is one issue, the land, logistics, transport access?
For family relocation, schooling is an issue.
Schools, okay.
People don't find places in schools.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Next question is for Stefan's counterpart from the Italian Cyprus Chamber of Commerce. ENI is one of the major companies involved in the hydrocarbon explorations, but there are many other companies as well that from Italy that are looking at Cyprus. What's the current status of cooperation? And you know, are there some sectors of major interest to Italian firms?
Okay, good morning. I'm Giuseppe Marino. I'm the president of the Italian Cyprus Chamber of Commerce. We are an Italian entity recognized by the Italian government to promote and develop the business relation between Italy and Cyprus. We have been established, just a couple of words to say who we are before to answer your question. So we established our operation in 2016 in Italy, and we got the recognition by the Italian government in 2019. We have more than 138 members in several sectors. So especially energy sector. So it is one of the main area of cooperation between Italy and Cyprus, but also construction sector. Just to remind the one here in, for example, one of the iconic building here in Limassol was built by an Italian construction company. All related to furniture and all related to made in Italy, of course, that is really appreciated in Cyprus. Consider this, Italy is one of the main trade partners of Cyprus. The volume of export is more than 1 billion and 500 million currently, so it's a very important number. And now we are seeing an increasing of interest regarding all related to technology. Because for many companies, Cyprus is considered as particularly of interest for to have an headquarter in the Mediterranean regarding this sector.
Excellent, thank you. Thank you very much. Next question goes to Marina Sevedu from Aspen Trust Group. And like we said at the beginning, there's a small error with her name, and we'll try to get that corrected. Aspen Trust is one of these companies that has brought some of the biggest investors to Cyprus over the past 20 or 30 years. So again, you're very well in touch with what investors are looking for. And I was wondering, what should we be focusing on besides tax, and what are some of the new business or service areas that we should be thinking about?
Very much. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to say a few things about the new markets that we've discovered in the last couple of years. I'm going to be wearing the hat of India, as I've already mentioned a couple of times. India is one of the fastest growing economies in the world, and we have so many common areas of cooperation with India, starting from culture, spirituality, the family values, the ethics, and the need for efficiency in businesses. The new areas that I found to be very, very worthwhile investigating in, it's the filming industry and the high-tech industry of India, as well as funds, but we're not that specialized in funds. So I would ask the government to make a few simple steps towards better cooperation with India, starting from connection with air transport connection. We don't have an air transport connection with India, and this is one of the biggest obstacles of Indians learning about Cyprus. The filming industry has to be more developed. There should be more steps in putting forward what is the benefit of using Cyprus for the big film producers. And also a big question that came recently was, is music included into the incentives that have been provided for the filming industry. And let's not forget that the filming industry had a very bad start because, you know, there were a few things that happened, and I've discussed them also with Marius, that were not necessarily on the benefit of Cyprus, so we need to clear those, but also make sure that we include music, because music is actually an industry with a lot of money, and there are so many producers that would like their video clips of songs to be filmed in Cyprus. And we had last week so many requests from them. So I think the government has to become a little bit more innovative on what we offer. Tax is not, and we may not be our strongest point because we're moving into a universal tax rate. So we need to see other areas of innovation and investments.
Very interesting. Thank you. Thank you. From here on out, our speakers are consultants, coaches, trainers, authors, people who, again, are playing a very active role in advising companies here, and who also largely have a lot of international experience. And so, again, they're going to give us a perspective on, again, some of the competitiveness aspects of what needs to be done here and what is being done in terms of enhancing competitiveness. I'd like to start with Anna Prodromou. Anna, we've been discussing issues like new technologies and things like that. And there's a lot of interest in AI, in artificial intelligence, and we're at something of the early stage now, but I think we can clearly see the direction that this technology is driving us into the future. In your opinion, how are new technologies going to enhance, the scale and the competitiveness of a company here in terms of what it can do, both domestically and globally? And I do apologize, but please keep it to 3 or 4 minutes because I know this is a subject that can go on.
Philip, I'm in communication, so I am pro brevity and concision, so don't worry.
Thank you.
I will not exceed my time. So basically, I think companies, organizations, they need to have a strategic, human-centered approach. I think we need to understand that technology can only benefit us. We need, as businesses, to understand that people are our competitive advantage, so they need to be reskilled and upskilled. In terms of equity, we need to make sure that everybody has access to that training and information so that they get ahead of time. The second thing is that they need to partner with universities and other research institutions because technology moves so fast, so they need to be up to date with what's happening. Although I am not a Luddite, I am pro-technology, but we need to make sure, and we need as organizations to request data privacy and transparency and accountability from the male stale brigade that is running the show in technology at the moment. So we need to be very cautious on that. And to conclude, I would say that we need to bridge innovation with empathy. We need to bring back the human into technology. I think that's the only way forward.
Thank you. Very, very interesting. Thank you very much. Stefan and Stavros had both mentioned the role of education, of talent, of training. So my next question is for Branka, who's one of the training consultants and productivity consultants here in Cyprus. What are employers doing nowadays here to prepare for, better talent retention, better talent acquisition, and training in general?
Yeah, okay. So, well, I have some numbers for you here. 3.3 million, 44.4 million, 204 million. What do you think those are? Yeah, well, our brain usually goes to money, isn't it? Yeah? Well, there aren't. 3.3 million is Facebook posts per minute we do. 44 million WhatsApp messages, and some of us are using them even now. And then 204 million emails sent every minute. How are our brains going to process it? So definitely what Anna said is that we need to use the technology in our advantage, and how employers can do it here, they can do it through the training. And training is one of the most important tools that can enable organizations to cultivate their talent, to improve operational efficiency, and to ensure the continuous adaptation to the new challenges. And just if I can add one thing is that Stefan mentioned before, like, we're having lack of talent. Is it the lack of talent or is it the lack of development? So what I see and what I invite for is learning and development and talent development agencies here that can support the business system and the private sector. Thank you.
Those numbers are a little bit frightening, and it leads me to ask, is anyone actually working anymore? Okay, next question is for Katerina Andreou, also someone involved in the HR and training space. What are the top employers doing in Cyprus today that sets them apart from their competitors in terms of either HR or any other type of, employment policy?
I think in Cyprus we're lucky because we're small enough that people can network and build their reputation quite rapidly, which in other countries is not that simple. And at the moment, everybody's talking about the lack of talent. It's actually, I don't think it is a lack of talent, there's a lack of willing talent. And things have massively changed worldwide on the job market, and the relationship between employers and employees since COVID, I think it's probably irreparably. And employer branding is now everything. To be competitive, to retain talent, you have to be able to pivot, to meet your employees, whether they're current employees, potential employees, where they're at. And that means listening and taking the market feedback about what they're asking for in terms of work-life balance and a host of other issues. So in Cyprus, as always, we recover very fast. We're very able to adapt and to learn what needs to happen next and catch up before larger markets. So I think employers here, especially the ones that are competitive and are listening, I think they take guidance and they do listen to their employees, and it's much easier for them to make that difference.
Great, thank you. Irene, you are a consultant and a coach, advisor in one of the most critical issues that we're confronted with, which is the green transition. And as a part of the EU, we have set probably some of the most ambitious objectives for net zero by 2050, as well as a number of other steps leading up to that point. So whether we like it or not, it is something that we're all very much involved with, or we will need to be involved with very, very shortly if we're not doing a lot of steps already. Are Cypriot companies prepared for that transition, and what are some of the first things that someone should look for?
So first of all, I'd like to say that businesses everywhere, not just in Cyprus, but globally, are forced to, they're called to operate in this ever-challenging ecosystem, having to be in panic mode every single day, starting from climate change that causes, our natural ecosystem to crumble, causing extreme weather phenomena, ongoing geopolitical conflict, inflation. These are some of the reasons that has led the EU to create this ambition to become the first climate neutral continent and move into the green transition, because that's considered a very good way to safeguard organizations and build the resilience and survival mechanisms to be able to survive in this challenging ecosystem. So in order to do that, organizations are called to look into things like energy management, their energy consumption, emissions, health and safety, the wellness of their employees, as was mentioned before, things like anti-corruption. All of these indicators have proven to safeguard organizations and make them more resilient and more adept to be able to face these challenges. So also the EU is directing capital towards organizations that perform well in these indicators. Now, transitioning to a green economy needs a number of transformative changes, beginning with the way that organizations are governed And so we see a shift from what we call shareholder capitalism to what we call stakeholder capitalism. And that means taking into consideration key stakeholders' views, needs, and priorities during the decision-making process. And we also see the rise of new roles such as the Chief Sustainability Officer, Chief Technology Officer, because cyber risk is now a #1 global risk. We have the Chief Happiness Officer. All these disciplines, again, lead us to the need for training and education that was mentioned before by my other distinguished panelists. So we need to create an environment where we train and educate our employees on these new disciplines to be able to understand the value that they bring to organizations so that organizations can then create this value for all their stakeholders, what we call shared value.
Thank you. Very interesting. Next two questions concern the generational change in enterprises. And I'd like to start with Philippos Aristotelous, who's a successful business consultant and author who's worked with a very wide range of companies here. I'm always fascinated by Cyprus because after the 1974 invasion, a lot of the economy had to be recreated in what is now the territory of the Republic. And so you have this very prominent founder generation who created some incredible companies from the ashes, essentially, of a war. And this generation is now retiring, or has retired, or has to retire quite soon in the future. What are some of the challenges that these established organizations go through when they transition from the founder to the next, to their children, basically?
I love this question so much. Now, unlike Anna, I am originally a lawyer, so I tend to go off-road. But I will try to keep it under control.
Please, please.
An additional point that relates to what you said is that approximately 80% of companies in Cyprus are family businesses. So right now, the economy is at the life cycle stage where most companies are in the second generation. So the founder is retiring or has retired. The helms or the baton has already been or is in the process of being transferred to the successors who are in the second generation. Now, the first generation and the second generation grew up together in the same household. They had the same conversations. They shared information over lunch, over meals. So one of the biggest pluses in terms of being in the first or second generation is that there is an alignment of values, an alignment of what matters in life. There is a free exchange of information. There is the proper planting of seeds for the future. So pretty much this blossoms within the frame of a single household, I would say. And this is the transition from the I of the founder to the us, US, of the siblings or the successors. Pretty much everything's smooth so far. Where things become complicated are where the third generation comes in, where we call it the confederation of cousins. This is where spouses enter the picture, and this is where we have a fragmentation of priorities, vision, and values. And in fact, only 10% of companies make it to the third generation stage. So although family businesses primarily, which is, I think, the essence of your point, is that, and my point is that Cyprus has many family businesses, are a wonderful thing to have. There is passion, there is sharing of information, sharing of values. Unfortunately, they don't have a very long-lasting future, primarily because of the fragmentation that follows the transition into the third generation. So what's the solution? The solution is to compensate for that natural propensity to fragment and to lead to conflicts because of different priorities of the successors, primarily on who gets employed, who gets income, who gets shares, the fundamental questions of an organizational journey in the future. The antidote to the entropy that is a natural consequence of this development. So the natural compensatory act to make is to bring order to the organization by drafting, let's say, robust organizational documents, articles of association. If it's a family business, bringing in family consultants to codify and distill the values and to make sure that everyone agrees on the common vision and what the northern star of the organization is. Draw the red lines on who gets employed, who doesn't get employed, the role of spouses, who gets shares and how, who exits the company and on what terms. So we codify, we bring order as an attempt to counter the inevitable entropic tendency of the organization.
So going from experiential management to systemic management.
Absolutely. We introduce order.
Excellent,
basically.
yeah. Great, thank you. I'm really sorry we don't have more time. I think each of the members here could easily be a panel on their own. The second to last question is for Raluca, who's also one of the most experienced consultants and trainers out there. And building on this question of generational change, Cyprus has gone from a country which was essentially, I don't want to get myself in trouble here, but essentially, using permanent labor in the 1970s and 80s to one which became dependent on importing labor in a lot of areas, and where together with that changing labor force came new norms, new ethnicities, new languages, new requirements, as well, of course, as a new generational change, right? And we're now at the Generation Z, which is very, very different from Generation X or from the baby boomers. From your experience, what do companies have to do to adapt now to attract, retain, and motivate talent in order to become or to remain competitive? It's a vastly different picture today.
Yes, it is. Thank you very much for the question. Actually, it's been touched up by Philippos with a succession plan, since 80% of the businesses in Cyprus are family businesses. And also Katerina touched on something very important, employment branding. This is something that we're forgetting, so I will try to keep it short, and I do strategy, so let's have it A, B, C, D. Work on your brand and on your strategies, because the era of an ideal business plan, marketing plan, strategic plan is gone. Things are changing and shifting so fast that if you're not out there and you're not super fast adapting, you will lose the game. And to give you some bullet points, we can talk about flexibility and balance between work and life. Especially after the pandemic, it's not anymore a luxury to stay in the comfort of your office or your home and have a Zoom call or a Google Meet. So younger generation needs to feel that they are flexible and they can have this balance between work and life. And let's not forget, less is more. We don't need to stay at the office 10 hours and say that we're productive, because that's wrong. And the second thing, which is extremely important, is culture of purpose. Many companies, and I'm seeing this through my trainings, they forget to tell to the younger generation when they hire them, what's our vision, mission, the reason why this company exists, and what do we want to offer to our clients, which customer should be number one, and fostering a customer-centric approach with what's happening now. It's something that each one of us should consider. So what's our vision? What's the mission? Because most of the younger generations want to do something that has a societal impact, something that is greater and bigger than their own purpose or their own good. So this is one. And the third one, continuous learning, either through collaboration with the Chamber, with the Cyprus Invest, or through certain centers like ANAD that each country has, either through trainers that offer that. Continuous learning is important, extremely important. Younger generations need to know that I'm not just going to be paid to do a job. I have a possibility to grow both professionally and personally, either through mentorship program, through soft skill enhancement, to new requirements and new skills with all the AI and with the metaverse and all the automation that are happening. And going then to the fourth one, that digitalization and technology. It's a great asset if used properly. It can be a big foe if used wrongly. Yes, use certain automation, use certain digital tools that will help you and assist you towards growth and towards moving forward. And last but not least, partnerships and collaborations. It's extremely important to understand that nobody knows everything, and we should train and bring people, and we should allow them to grow and to learn from those who are already leaders or they already build their experience. And to conclude, there's an issue. We want younger generation, and we want to keep them, and we want to help them grow and become the next generation of leader. But we don't hire them because they are too young. We don't hire them because they don't have experience. Then my question for you, and I will end up here with the food for thought question, how then the young generation could become and take the succession plan and be the next leader if we are not letting them come, sit next to us and learn and teach them what we know. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The last question is for Nicholas Kyriakidis from the Cyprus Forum. Nicholas is an expert in a very, very specific area, which is in a way not just conference management, but also conference diplomacy. And in many years, he's had the sometimes lonely role of communicating Cyprus to international audiences. Could you share your insights into, what do foreigners think when they hear about Cyprus, and what should we and the diaspora be doing to improve that message?
First of all, I would like to highlight the importance of good policy making in the economy, but also attracting foreign investment. Good policy making, I'm referring to regulated and evidence-based lobbying, scientific public discussion, good public consultations, so that our legislation and the decision making is based on science. And this is basically what, in most panels here and in other conferences, we talk about that our policies do not keep up with recent developments, either technological or others. So this is what we're focusing on as an organization called Oxygen for Democracy, and we have various tools to achieve that. First of all, it's a tool that gives information about what is being discussed inside the parliament. It's called NOMO Platform, and then we have the conferences, the Cyprus Forum and the Cyprus Forum Cities. For example, the Cyprus Forum Cities talks about the local government. We have elections, we have a big reform, and experts need to come closer and discuss and give suggestions to policymakers. And what we also found useful is that apart from the local discussions here, it's important to hold discussions outside of Cyprus. Our partner is the Delphi Economic Forum in Greece, which is being called as the Greek Davos, basically. And they have conferences in Brussels, of course, because that's where most of the decision-making is happening that affects us. Washington, D.C., London, and elsewhere. And this is what we're trying to do as well. The reason for this is twofold. First of all, to utilize our diaspora, bring them closer, and mobilize them to, let's say, positively influence the decision makers in the other countries, and also somehow utilize the expertise in these countries so that our local policymaking is improved. So that's basically it. And since I'm the last one, we can now go for a basketball game since we're more than 10. And we'll have the Eurobasket next year as well. So.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm afraid we've kind of come to the end of our allotted time, so I'll just give a short summary. I think what we've all experienced being here is that Cyprus is moving from a low-tax, low-cost environment to not a middle tax, but at least a slightly higher tax, but certainly higher cost environment. And that's putting the pressure on a lot of enterprises to question, what are their traditional sources of competitive advantage and how can they invest in competitiveness moving forward? And, I think we've heard some very good criticisms or outlining some of the areas that Cyprus does need to improve. Certainly, if I look at what Cyprus was like, say, from 2015 and before, it was really, really a different country. And to a great extent, Cyprus is sometimes also a victim of its own success. The fact that we have succeeded in attracting so many companies and so many large companies does indeed put pressure on housing prices. It definitely puts pressure on education, on municipal infrastructure, on a lot of other areas. And so I think it's clear moving forward that, the country would really benefit from a joined-up strategy which is proactive and future-looking rather than reactive and, responding to events. But I at least am comforted by the fact that, changes are taking place at the policy level. And I'm also comforted by the fact that we really have an array of incredible expertise here on the island, which is available for investors and diaspora members, from all over the world. And at the end of the day, that's also one of the reasons that I myself decided to emigrate here. So I'd like to thank everyone on our panel. I apologize for the lack of time. Please, you will find all of their information on the Diaspora Forum website in case you want to reach out to them. But thank you very much.
And thank you, Philip, for moderating that wonderful session. I do want to apologize to a very close friend, to Marina Zevedeu, for the error on the screen, which has been rectified. Marina, I still hope our relationship is there, and I love you very much. Okay, if all the panelists could just remain on stage for about 2 minutes for a group photo. And after you've done with your photo, if you can just go through to the front lobby for a quick press interview. And we'll be starting the next panel discussion in approximately 5 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you. No pressure, no pressure.
No pressure. Okay, folks, the next session of Future of Business will commence with a presentation from the Deputy Ministry of Research, Innovation and Digital Policy. And we're very honored to have today with us the Deputy Minister himself. Philip will be handing the reins over to you now to take over for the next part of the Future of Discussion. So if everybody could please return to their seats and let's get the show on the road.
The second panel deals with investing in innovation. So we'll be looking at some of the core issues of technology, of startups, of financing innovation, and in general, how Cyprus is evolving into a technology hub. As with our previous panel, we have a shortage of time, so the questions to the panel members will be relatively short. Hopefully, we can open up for questions at the end. The panel will be preceded by a keynote speech by His Excellency Nikodimos Damianou, the Minister of Research, Innovation and Digital Policy. As several speakers have mentioned in the previous panel, but also over these past few days, Cyprus is really making a transition into this technology space. And I think the foundation of this ministry is a key aspect of that. It certainly serves as a focal point for a lot of the government activities, and it gives this sector an equal strength among other government departments. So I'd like to invite the Minister, Mr. Damianou, for a 10-minute keynote. Thank you.
Thank you. We live in interesting times, don't we? And not just because Elon Musk says so, but I think we all realize that technology is not just affecting or actually shaping how we interact in our daily lives at the corporate level. It is defining our operating models. It is hugely affecting our business models, our strategy, and at government level, well, it affects the economy and it's becoming part of social policy. In some countries, you can find artificial intelligence ministries nowadays, and I guess rightly so. So good morning, everyone. Thank you for this invitation. I'm very glad to be here, not just because this is a lovely venue, but I have to say that the Cyprus diaspora is an unwavering pillar of support for the country throughout the world. Your role in accelerating our growth, attracting investment in Cyprus and strengthening our country's global stature cannot be overstated. Allow me for the next few minutes to give you an overview of where we see Cyprus in the tech and innovation space and actually tell you what we're doing about it. Now, I realize that much of what I have on these slides has already been covered by the previous keynote speaker and also by the distinguished panelists. But so I will be very brief on that and maybe give you the inside scoop. No, I'm kidding. I will just do a summary, I guess, on those points and be and focus on some other things. Okay, so. No? Yes. But you will allow me to start from the very basics, even if it is reiterating things. So I think we all agree, and or we should agree, that Cyprus has unique strengths, and these strengths can position it as a key regional technology and innovation hub. Cyprus is well positioned to serve as a gateway into and out of Europe, and also offers wide access to markets due to its geostrategic location. We have a business-friendly environment. Much of it was discussed previously with some concerns. A range of business support services, an efficient and attractive tax system, and a well-educated and skilled workforce with a high percentage of university graduates, and also a lot of proficiency on several languages. The previous keynote speaker also noted that for companies and professionals relocating to Cyprus, the high quality of life and the island's natural beauty are also quite important, I think. Cyprus features a resilient economy, that's what this slide says, with a positive and steady outlook. Major credit agencies are now placing Cyprus at the investment grade. This is a result of targeted government policies and measures, and I think represents a significant vote of confidence in the country's trajectory. What this slide shows is very important, I think, especially if you put it in the context of what has been happening in the region, what is happening in the region, in Europe, and also essentially coming out of the COVID pandemic. In terms of the local research and innovation ecosystem, and despite our small size, our island has witnessed the rapid evolution or progress over the past decade. I think we are coming out of the initial state of building the basic constructs of the ecosystem, and we are ready or getting ready to enter the next state of maturity and commercialization of the research results. Cyprus is housed to 12 academic institutions, 9 research organizations, and in fact 7 centers of excellence. I think we have the highest number in absolute highest number of centers of excellence in Europe. We host a strong ICT cluster with more than 400 startups and innovative SMEs, and comparatively a large number of researchers and entrepreneurs, or entrepreneurially minded individuals, as I would like to say. Being ranked a strong innovator for the second consecutive year on the European Innovation Scoreboard, I think bears testament to the fact that there is progress achieved, but there is also great potential for the country. Yes, there is a lot of work to be done. I mentioned in the previous slide the fact that we need to move into maturity, commercialization. We need to bring research institutions and the industry closer together, and that's what we are doing. And we are also doing that, focusing on collaborations and partnerships with other geographies which have more advanced ecosystems. And I see our chief scientist joining, and good morning, Dimitri. He's the one to ask if you want to know more about that space. It was also mentioned before by the keynote speaker of the first session that major international ICT companies already operate their regional or the global headquarters in Cyprus. I think you mentioned a number of more impressive names that I have on this slide potentially. I think the key thing for me, apart from the fact that Cyprus is becoming a prime location for fintech companies is that many of these businesses are also invested themselves in the efforts we are doing to leverage this space of ICT and innovation. And they're truly invested, and we are proud and happy about that. Now, before I leave this slide, I should also say that as a government, we are also exploring the potential for designing and building technology parks on the island that will be a major boost to these sort of initiatives, that headquarter initiatives. And this is where I enter the discussion of the previous panel, which is, in fact, highlights, in fact, the fact that technology innovation is hugely embedded into the business. So following a growth-driven approach, our government is deploying a number of actions in the context of our strategy for attracting investment and talent in Cyprus, which actually has been recently revised to better reflect the ecosystems and the investors' needs. And I should only be very brief here. Mr. Danousis mentioned earlier the Business Facilitation Unit, the BFU. It's a one-stop shop with centralized, fast, and efficient processing of company registration and incorporation. The effort is to do that in a simplified manner, a digitized manner. I should also mention the accelerated process of immigration and employment permits that we are pursuing, and also a variety of other tools. Again, this was mentioned earlier, the visa, the digital nomad visa for remote work, the startup visa for the establishment and relocation of innovative startups, and also the blue card for highly skilled third-party nationals. The government is also introducing, and this is related, new housing incentives such as build-to-rent schemes and the review of certain urban development incentives. On the tax spectrum, on top of our attractive corporate tax system, to foster innovation and encourage investment, our government has implemented a range of targeted tax incentives, which include, among others, 50% exemption for investing in innovative enterprises, a competitive IP regime, and R&D deductions to innovative SMEs. We offer various funding tools and schemes to support the digital transformation of businesses. That's for the local market. Advanced commercialization of research outputs and innovative entrepreneurship. I mentioned that previously as one of the key pillars of where we need to push the ecosystem towards, the R&I ecosystem, and promote collaboration of research and business communities. To build a strong economy, we want to improve access to funding. We have to improve access to funding for small and medium-sized enterprises. I guess a very important step, it was mentioned earlier, is the first ever Cyprus Equity Fund. I'm not going to say too much about this. This is meant to primarily invest, it was covered previously, primarily invest in innovative, actually financing the gap of innovative small companies and also startups. In addition, the government is proceeding with the establishment of a national development agency through which financial and guarantee tools will finance SMEs and investments related to digital but also energy transformation. Our digital agenda. We are pursuing an ambitious digital agenda. We feel that we have a lot of ground to cover, to be honest. The digital maturity indices, the European digital maturity indices, don't paint a very good picture for Cyprus. We need to improve that significantly over the next years. Our primary focus is on e-government interventions, which means digitizing the processes to the citizen and to the businesses. And that's #1 priority. But at the same time, we want to start ambitious programs of modernizing, upgrading our backbone technology engine, our infrastructures. We want to focus here on attracting investments in infrastructure, data center investments, for example. And we are also touching on connectivity. If I look at the internal connectivity, we are enhancing connectivity with high-speed internet across the island in even the remotest of places on the island. And a comment on the connectivity of Cyprus with the outside world. Being an island, there is some worry about that, but I have to say that our connectivity is more than enough. We have very good connectivity, internet connectivity, more than most locations. Well, before I go here, actually, let me touch on this reskilling and upskilling programs and the talent retention, which was extensively covered during the previous panel. Just 2 points on that. We are, as a government, we are running together with the industry, CITEA, which is the local association of technology companies, a pilot program in that space of reskilling and upskilling that is focused on training people with background in economics or math. It's a 10-week intensive program, and the focus is data analytics, which is, as I said, a pilot program, and if that goes well, we want to expand it to other areas. And I said 2 points. The second point has to do with AI. If one wants to ask me whether I am worried about AI bringing loss of jobs, apologies for being too blunt about this, but no, I'm not worried. But I'm worried about the way we embed that knowledge into our education system, because that's the challenge going forward with this sort of technologies. So in concluding, Cyprus has taken important steps, I think, towards its transformation into a regional technology and innovation hub. We had Stefan mention some concerns and some areas where we still need to focus. That's true, and I know that my fellow ministers are actively working on those areas. What we need to do is we need to capitalize going forward on the talent of our local ecosystem, the government's solid vision and determination, and of course the support of the Cyprus diaspora is hugely important. I'm confident that we can achieve this goal of positioning Cyprus as a highly attractive technology and innovation hub in the region. And with that, thank you very much for your attention.
So thank you, Mr. Minister. Very interesting presentation. I'd like to ask the members of the second panel to come up, please. So once again, we have really an incredible cross-section of talent and expertise here. People who are not only dealing with things like financing, not only dealing with things like analysis of the environment or research and development, but we also have a large number of startup founders and technology founders who have really a lot to say in practice about Cyprus. I'd like to start with I'd like to start actually with a brief introduction. If you could just go through and introduce yourselves, your company, and what you're working on. And we'll start with Dimitris.
Yeah. You hear me? Thank you.
Dimitris Opos. I'm the founder and partner at 33 East. We're a venture capital firm for Cyprus. We invest in Cyprus-based startup. My background is an entrepreneur, but I'm becoming an investor now.
Γεια σας, Maria Marquidou Georgiadou. I am the managing director of a non-profit organization in Cyprus called Cyprus, which tries to support academic innovation to take it from the laboratories to the market.
Hi everyone, I'm Yorgos Chrysanthou. I'm a professor at the University of Cyprus in computer science, but I'm here as the director of a center of excellence called Science. And Science is a new center that was set up by University College London, Max Planck, and the 3 public universities of Cyprus under the coordination of the municipality of Nicosia, in order to look into ICT technologies, interactive technologies, and help promote these technologies to industry as well.
Hello all, my name is Odysseas Konomidis. I'm the managing director of Hardwarex, a company which creates technology. Our core expertise is creating electronics from scratch and providing solutions using Internet of Things to corporates.
Hello everyone, my name is Arian. I'm the founder of Evernomic, a venture studio with a focus on media and software. We design systems and frameworks where we can support startups with them as efficiently as possible, so we bring together a network of different startups in relevant niches, and then try to achieve maximum efficiency within our ecosystem.
Hello, my name is Angelos Grigoriou. I'm the CEO and co-founder of DynamicWorks. DynamicWorks is a 21-year-old company, and 7 years ago we were offering solutions for businesses for many years, and about 6 years ago we transformed the business into a fintech provider, and we now have B2B clients in more than 20 countries, and we have onboarded through our solutions over 5 million customers.
Hello everyone, I'm Şengül. I'm the marketing manager of Startup Link, which is a global innovation ecosystem map, and we are mostly known for the Global Startup Ecosystem Index, which is ranking 1,000 cities and 100 countries around the world, and especially that's done by the partnerships of over 100 government partners, including Tech Island in Cyprus, which is an NGO, so that is what mostly we are known for, and we'll talk more about Cyprus Startup Ecosystem, I guess, after this intro.
Hello everyone, my name is Kamal Zenedine. I represent Benego. We are creating a food sustainable app here in Cyprus, and we work with the various businesses like hotels, cafes, and bakeries to reduce food waste. And yeah, let's begin this session.
Thank you very much. I'd like to start out with taking a broader approach and looking at the ecosystem and some of the players within the ecosystem. So Şengül, maybe we can start with you. How do you rank, or how is the Cyprus ecosystem ranking now? And in 3 minutes or less, what does it need to do to improve?
It will be a challenge, to be honest, because we are taking into account 40 different parameters defining quality, quantity, and business environment of the startup ecosystem. So considering that, Cyprus is doing extremely well on the business environment parameter, and then quantity is also good considering the size of the population. The startup activity is really good considering accelerators, incubators, and then the number of startups, as mentioned in the previous presentations as well. What Cyprus is challenging right now is a bit on the funding side, because that translates into the quality parameter. You only need actually one unicorn to make that success story and brand the ecosystem according to that one, because that's when investors start to come to the island and make more investments to the local startups. So currently, Cyprus is ranked 54th globally, considering like 100 countries are ranked, and there are many populous countries that are ranked below Cyprus, which is a good position. And it's also 18th in Western Europe, which is also a good indicator of Cyprus' progress. And most importantly, it is increasing every year. Like, we never see Cyprus dropping to top 60s, and it is getting closer to top 50. And talking about the city level, Limassol is extremely promising, and we're expecting that it will go extremely well this year in the rankings, which will be released in May. So that will be the wrap-up of the rankings.
So we need a unicorn.
Oh, yeah, unicorn means like companies that are valued at about $1 billion. So that means like it achieved a major milestone and become a huge driver of an economy in terms of employment and so on.
Thank you, thanks. Next question for Yorgos from Science. I've been observing the activities for some years now, and it's really a fascinating combination of university expertise, a lot of private sector expertise, a lot of young entrepreneurs and just brilliant talents who are out there really working at the forefront of some areas like virtual reality and AI and things like that. What do we need to do to cultivate homegrown technologies? I think we do have some unicorns, but I think a lot of the unicorns have maybe set up here from other countries, if we were to value them. What do we need to do to really nurture, the domestic talent, the Cypriot talent? I mean, it doesn't have to have a Cypriot passport, but a young founder from Cyprus.
Thank you very much. This is a very good question, and this is exactly where we come in, and not just us as Science, but the Deputy Minister mentioned that there are currently 7 centers of excellence in Cyprus out of the 36 in the whole of Europe. And these centers of excellence are, some of their main KPIs is to encourage these technology transfers, spin-offs, and things to be developed. Now, how can we support the development of homegrown? I mean, this is what we're trying to do. In fact, I would answer to the previous speaker that actually we're trying to promote Nicosia as a center for the development of such technologies and spin-offs. And I can give you an example of how our center is helping. For example, we are moving next week into our new building, which is the old market in Nicosia, a brilliant, a very nice building. The ground floor is open to the ecosystem. We have a co-working space, seminar rooms, we have a nice coffee shop, and spotted around in the city, we have our labs, which there are labs like virtual production, smart city, Internet of Things, robotics, AI, different kind of labs. So what we are trying to do is we are trying to encourage people to come experiment with new technologies. We have a lot of interns that come and get trained with us for 3 months, 6 months. We do provide courses. And we also have some funding, the Digital Innovation Hub, along with some other centers of excellence and the Cyprus Institute and GEVE and OEV, actually, to provide for free services for people to try new technologies. So I think it's quite important. Of course, we also heard the Deputy Minister, we heard that there are 12 universities in Cyprus. Actually, when I came about 2001 as a professor at the University of Cyprus, it was the only one. Suddenly, we have like quite a few. And the universities can play a role. They can play a role that they bring the students, they train them. But I believe there we need some more work, because I think we need for example, the University of Cyprus has not really managed to bring international students to come and get trained and stay in Cyprus and develop the homegrown ecosystem of technologies. But we're doing good steps, and yeah, I think we're on good track.
Great, excellent. I think I've heard of Nicosia. It's a small town that way. Sorry. Okay, let's talk about financing innovation, which is also, one of these recurring issues which we're all living with as well. We have 2 representatives who are really experts at financing, and I'd like to start with Maria from Cyprus Seeds, because Cyprus is really funding a lot of the high-tech or the research and development intensive work which does come out of universities. And for me, what's interesting about Cyprus Seeds is that it's also one of the few initiatives which is largely financed not by government sources, but by a range of private donors. So could you just give us a brief update on what Cyprus Seeds is doing?
Thank you, Felipe. I'd like to start actually by something that the Deputy Minister noted, that the government and the Research Innovation Foundation on the island is supporting the startups and the spin-out companies from the universities through equity-free funding. Well, Cyprus Seeds is a private initiative which is adding to that the government is doing. And on top of it, and that is the beauty of what I'm about to say, we are being supported by the government as they provide matching funding to the privately raised funding that we attract and we give to the very best scientists on this island who have that appetite to become entrepreneurs. So, Cyprus Seeds is a private initiative. It became a reality as a result of the vision of a Cypriot of the diaspora. And this is important to be noted here, yes, because it is because of the Cypriot of the diaspora, along with the Greek of the diaspora in the US, that we launched Cyprus Seeds 5 years ago, aiming to identify those scientific teams from research centers like Science and the other 6 on the island, from the 10 or so universities, 12 public and private, and other centers of research that this country has, to take them by the hand and to nurture them so that they dare be entrepreneurs. And what we do, we give them grants, we give them mentoring, and we give them the networking opportunities to connect with the industry, customers, so that they commercialize scientific innovation to innovative solutions for world problems in any sector of the economy. And I'd like to finish my introduction about Cyprus Seeds by mentioning that we are running the 3rd cycle of the Cyprus Seeds program. Each cycle is 18 months of support, like I described it. And to my very big surprise, as I've been with Cyprus Seeds since the design of the program, most of the applications we receive are in the health sector, medical devices, drugs. Then there is environment. There is innovation in environment. There is innovation in the arts and culture on this island. There is innovation in the IoT, Internet of Things, and robotics. So that gives you an indication of the hidden treasures that we have on this island, all from scientific research. And what is missing? Taking them by the hand, changing the mindset of the teams behind these innovations, and connecting them with the industry. And all this because of the support of private individuals, corporations on the island, the Greeks and Cypriots of the diaspora, and the government of Cyprus. So, public-private partnership.
Really interesting.
Do wonders.
Yes, very, very interesting. And certainly, I think something different from when people like me passed through university about 5 years ago. You know, anyway, this is something quite new. So it's great to see this type of collaboration taking place between industry, you know, the charitable or private sector, and academic research. Our next question goes to Dimitris, who is setting up the National Equity Fund. So one of the structural measures that the government of Cyprus is taking is to co-fund investments in innovation. And if you look back approximately 10 years ago, Greece did the same with the Equifund program and the European Investment Bank. And having a lot of experience in that ecosystem, I can tell you it has absolutely revolutionized the tech sector in Greece. So we're all hoping that this intervention will have a similar effect here in Cyprus. Dimitri, could you update us on what's the status of the fund and what are your plans?
Thank you, Vib. Yeah, so the minister just presented the Cyprus Equity Fund. So my venture capital firm, 33 East, will be managing the Cyprus Equity Fund. So effectively, our government, indirectly through the European Investment Fund, will be the anchor investor in our fund. So 2/3 of the fund will be represented on the cap table by effectively the government, and the rest will be through private individuals. Our objective is to invest in technology companies on the island. And we have two key strategies. One strategy will be to focus on really early stage technology spin-offs from these scientific organizations, either universities or privately funded tertiary educational establishments, things that have very high risk. So it's a very small bit of our fund will be focused on giving equity funding to those spin-offs from these scientific research programs. But the main part of our fund will be a classic venture fund. Classic venture fund is effectively about commercialization in fast growth. So it'll be pre-seed and seed financing. We're talking about tickets from $500,000 to $1 million investment, first money in, effectively risk financing. And this will be focused across every sector. Now, to take one step back, to give people kind of a sense of what the market is like in Cyprus, we are talking about technology we know represents now about 15% of all our economy now. 15% of our GDP is technology in Cyprus. It's the first time ever on our island that technology has now become the #1 contributor to the economy. It's the first time ever. However, this 15%, which is about 4 billion worth of value add, is almost exclusively represented by redomiciliations of foreign companies. This is what you mentioned earlier. So these are companies that came from abroad and set up shop here with a lot of people, a lot of very good skilled people. And I agree with the previous comment that what we are trying to do here, we want to become the first investors in a future unicorn, a future very high value Cyprus homegrown company, as opposed to a company that came into Cyprus already established. Why is this important? It's very important for Cyprus because we're a tiny, tiny island. We're a very small place. We cannot compete on scale in any other category except for technology. We can become a player in technology, but this requires many, many things. It requires the scientific institutions to provide applied research, but it also requires the next step. My firm, my venture capital firm, will hopefully come at that stage, which is providing the risk capital to get these ideas to become commercial realities and scale out. Now, in terms of what it takes to build this ecosystem, it requires many ingredients, I would say, but focus on 3 ingredients. #1 is talent, people, knowledge. And this is very important for us because I think all these companies that came to Cyprus as redomiciled companies with lots of technology talent, they have a lot of skills and knowledge that we don't have in Cyprus yet, and they'll help enormously. The second part is financing. And that's where we come into play as a venture capital firm. There's a gap in the market. There's a market failure. There isn't enough financing in the system. There's some venture capital firms here already, but there's not as much as, for example, the money has gone into very early stage grants and grant institutions, the state. And the third thing is access to markets. And I think I would say this is the #1 problem we have today. Cyprus is a small place, quite far away from Europe, far away from markets. It's not easy, and we haven't found yet a formula to access those markets. We are hoping to help those companies do that.
Excellent. Really interesting. The other 4 speakers represent startup founders or scale-up founders who are really working in some of the most fascinating areas of technology. And I'd like to start with Angelos Grigoriou from Dynamic Works, mirroring the rise of Cyprus, or Limassol, well, Cyprus as a financial center. Is the fact that a lot of the companies here have high-scale demands for software services, and you are serving some of the leaders in the banking and the fintech sector in terms of CRM software and things like that. And what impressed me is, in our conversation earlier, you mentioned you had onboarded over 5 million customer accounts globally, which I think is absolutely fantastic. How do you see, the domestic industry growing as a supplier to, say, the fintech sector? And can you tell us just a bit more about your company and what you're focusing on?
Of course. First of all, I have to say that having a booming sectors like finance in Cyprus is a golden opportunity for Cyprus businesses to expand globally. What we do, I will explain what we do first, because I didn't explain before. In getting to know this financial industry gave us enough know-how to understand the needs of the market. So when you innovate, you first find the need and you solve a problem. The problem that we solved is that businesses didn't have turnkey solutions, financial businesses, to open their businesses. So we introduced the CRM, back office, financial system that was, it comes with all the onboarding functionality, the client retention functionality, and the mobile apps that are required to open a business, connect it to trading servers, and start the business. So these also the regulatory issues. So it transforms the business from working with Excel and documents, etc., to transforms it digitally, and boost the efficiency and the profitability. So we started off, obviously, with Cypriot civic regulated companies. Then we went slowly to expose. People started to get to know us, word of mouth, and then we started expanding globally. And we now sell our software to more than B2B, more than 20 countries, and they onboard millions of customers, as we said before. Why am I making this introduction? What I want to say is that to come to this conclusion after 15 years working with horizontal solutions and try to innovate horizontally because we tried introducing other solutions to the global market, we came to the conclusion that in order to succeed from a, being in a small island, a known island like Cyprus, now it's more known for many reasons, you need to differentiate and work with a niche. There are two types of businesses. The businesses that start from Silicon Valley and from similar areas, and the business that starts from Silicon Valley. Valley is in Nicosia, we see. Now our new offices are in Valley, and we call it, ironically, Silicon Valley. Yeah. So now we're at Silicon Valley, a nice industrial space. So what I would suggest to new entrepreneurs and established businesses is to work hard, being patient, think outside the box, research, find ways to innovate, utilize the know-how that we have around you, utilize the opportunities, because opportunities are there for everyone. We need to know when to utilize the opportunities. And then we can make this better. And going back to the funding aspect, 21 years ago when we started, there was no funding. Yeah. We took a loan from the government with 6.5% interest. Yeah. And it was an achievement for us. So there is funding today, there is financing, there is RIF, it's the government that is supporting the businesses. It's a totally new era, it's a totally new ecosystem. So let's be positive and persistent.
Yes, totally agree, totally agree. Odysseas, you're also a founder of a startup, and in this case, you're representing some of the cutting edge of deep tech technology in terms of machine learning, edge computing, and so on and so forth. And again, for people who know the sector, I think it's absolutely brilliant that we have founders here in Cyprus dealing with this. You also have the second challenge that you're essentially a hardware company. You're not just selling software as a service, but you actually have to deal with things like installation, shipment, logistics, warranties, maintenance, and so on and so forth. And I believe Stefan also alluded to some of the difficulties when you're the manufacturing sector of setting up here. What are some of the challenges that you faced in building essentially a hardware company here in Cyprus?
Okay, so excellent question. First of all, in order to give a bit of context, Hard2Rx is a spin-off, a pretty recent spin-off that came from Robo, Educational and Research Robotics, which is a startup that's been operating here in Cyprus for 5 years now. And it creates educational electronics. So as Philip already mentioned, the core expertise of Hard2Rx is to create electronics from scratch. So now there's a big difference between generating and creating tech, hardware tech, versus to software tech. And as you can imagine, as an island, it's much more, let's say, inefficient creating tech here. Let me give you some examples. So the operational cycles are much longer. In order to create hardware, we need to source components. We don't have local suppliers. We always have to source materials from abroad, so the operational cycles are longer. This also immediately translates to higher cost of R&D, and also translates to a low to almost no local industrial partners in hardware R&D. So I would say that longer operational cycles and higher R&D costs are the two main difficulties, but it's more than doable. That's why we do it. We love creating tech. And most importantly, I would argue with, at least from my point of view, with the discussion we had before about maybe lacking some talent here in Cyprus, I would say that we have, at least for my sector, electrical engineering and especially computer science, we have lots of talent here in Cyprus. And the main reason for top talent here in Cyprus that studies such kind of degrees, like electrical engineering, is the lack of industry. So the option for some people that are top-notch and graduate in universities in Cyprus, the actual options are either the research sector, which the research sector in Cyprus is actually doing pretty good, especially for the size of our island. So the options are either going for research and academia, most probably, or maybe, and most probably going to a tech company abroad. So actually we have lack of tech industry, hardware-based tech industry in Cyprus, and that's the biggest issue for having so much talent fleeing abroad. And to be honest, that was a decision that I had to take too. I love research. I was a research engineer in GEOS, and I had to take a decision if I was going to go abroad because I like practical stuff, building stuff, or staying in Cyprus and staying on the research area. And that's why we created these two startups. So actually, creating a hardware in Cyprus is more than doable. And we have lots of talent. We lack the tech industry, but I think these are the birth years of our tech industry, because as you heard before, we have lots of tech startups, but we are very much on the beginning of it.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, Dimitri.
Let me make a quick intervention here, because I think there's massive confusion when we say technology. What do we mean? Yeah. There's obviously research and science. But just to give you a sense, for every dollar that goes into primary scientific research, you need about $10,000 to commercialize something. Think about that. For every dollar that goes into scientific research, you need $10,000 to commercialize. the amount of money in Cyprus that goes into publicly funded research with RIF, with the university Center of Excellence, we have about 1 billion worth of cash going into that over several years, let's say. The amount of money that goes into organized commercialization is less than 50 million. Think about that, 1 billion versus 50 million, when the ratio should have been probably 1 million times more on the commercial side. So the gap in Cyprus is not the knowledge we have. We have excellent skills, excellent academic institutions, excellent centers of excellence, great scientists. But if you look at where we have commercial, why did these companies come to Limassol from abroad? None of them do primary scientific research. They are all commercial applications of existing technology. That is the trick. And what we need to do as a country is reorient ourselves in a very similar way to what Israel did. Israel is also a very small country, 9 million people, not a huge one. And yet, they are the world leaders in homegrown technology being exported abroad from day one. That's a trick they managed over many, many years of trying. We haven't tried yet, but we can.
Thanks, and I think especially if you consider the difficulties in getting traction in Cyprus, given the low market size, it's probably a much higher amount needed in commercialization. Thank you both for that. Arian, I want to share something about Cyprus and Greece with you. So if you're a young person, traditionally, your first job choice was work for daddy, you know, family-owned company, go into the family-owned company. Your second choice was sometimes work for Big Daddy, work for the government. And then, if you couldn't do either one or two, you would work for Daddy Warbucks, which was the banking sector, which is now also having a lot of trouble. But I mean, you've seen this firsthand. You're counseling young people going into entrepreneurship. You are, you know, setting up educational programs, mentoring programs, coaching programs. What are some of the challenges that young people face in terms of, like, you know, insecurity or, I don't know, questions about survivability, financial survivability of becoming entrepreneurs?
Absolutely. I think it's definitely a very important issue to tackle, and there's a lot of resources on it to try to tackle the issue. Now, I think Evernomic is a very unique organization in the sense that now we have a team of over 20 people across all projects, and we're approaching a dozen startups under management, and yet the oldest person in our team is 26, and the average age is just over 21. And we're managing to still keep up with industry standards and often go beyond them. And we acknowledge that this is an issue that we need to pay attention to, because at the end of the day, young people don't have that experience, and the sort of stereotypes that are held against them at times is true. And there's a reason they exist to begin with, right? So we look at it as issues that we need to face, and we try to solve them within our organizational culture. I believe it's such a significant issue that it should be tackled on a societal level, where it integrates into that culture. Now, to give you an example of one sort of obstacle within the youth is that I don't actually think that entrepreneurship within the youth necessarily needs boosting. I think it's already quite good. And compared to previous generation, I think it's quite good in general. Now, you don't need everyone to become entrepreneurs. At the end of the day, society would fall apart if everyone wanted to be an entrepreneur. So I think the portion of the youth that are at least thinking about or trying to pursue entrepreneurship, I think is quite significant already. I think what's important to tackle is to keep them entrepreneurs and keep them entrepreneurial, because at the end of the day, there's certain things that once they're experienced and once they're faced and once they're seen, they can never be unseen, right? And it's very, very hard for them to do certain things, experience certain things, and then 10 years' time, they can't do it anymore, and they have to go back. And then that becomes a problem. And I think in the future, we're going to see a lot of people who try to have an entrepreneurial career, whereas obviously failing is part of the journey, but then they had to go through a shift entirely. And to give you an example, is like when you're very, very young, or if you're a young adult, let's say, you don't have much options. You obviously don't have the experience, you don't have the network, you don't have the funding necessarily. Obviously, there's support being provided now. But as a result, your options are very, very limited, right? So, you know, what university accepts you, you'll take it. You come up with an idea and you're with your friends and you're like, all right, cool. I can do this idea, I'll do it. And when you grow older, normally in ordinary cases, you've got things holding you down, right? So either you have a family to feed, you know, whatever it may be, you have responsibilities that hold you down. And this is something that's necessary. If you do pursue entrepreneurship when you're very, very young, new doors start to open up, right? And it adds to the opportunity cost of every decision that you make. So one of the reasons, this is obviously an entirely different discussion, but one of the reasons you see so many people that are very, very wealthy and don't seem content with their lives, at least by my estimation, is part of the reason is because they don't have much responsibilities that they can't take care of or streamline to some extent. So now all doors are open for them. Now, regardless of what decision they make, the opportunity cost of all the other doors that they didn't go through is considerably higher. You apply the same concept to the youth, it becomes a problem as well. So when you're much younger, let's say you're 20 years old and you're doing something, you've got a lot of different options, then the sort of obligation starts to add up. So I think a solution that we try to implement ourselves is to communicate and really make them understand and develop a purpose beyond just monetary means that they work for and some sort of driver for them, which is on a selfish level. Not on a selfless level. Naturally, we obviously push these sort of sustainability, X, Y, Z, blah, blah, blah. But also on a selfish level, I think it's crucial to have some sort of motivators, some sort of drivers that push them forward. That could be anything, you know, leaving a legacy, family, et cetera, et cetera.
Thank you, thank you. We are just about out of time, so last question going to Kamal. You are an impact startup, so you're dealing with food sustainability and, you know, trying to essentially help Cyprus meet things like wider sustainability, not just from the eco viewpoint, but also I would say the social viewpoint. What are some of the issues which could help you in your, you know, in growing your startup here in Cyprus?
First of all, I want to thank Paul Lambis for the amazing invitation here, and to all the panelists, it was amazing explanations of what you guys do. But essentially what Benego operates here in Cyprus is that we are aiming to build a sustainable business model here, combating food waste especially. Amazing here, my two friends that we're building this company as well. And essentially what we do is we work with a variety of businesses like hotels, cafes, and bakeries to reduce food waste by repurposing surplus food at a discounted price. And this idea that we built together as a team, it evolved into something much bigger than it is actually impacting the Cypriot food industry here in Cyprus to make it more green, more efficient for affordable quality meals from businesses, etc. And considering the EU regulations as well that businesses face nowadays with the carbon foot tax, the carbon footprint that they have, and essentially what we do is we come to the business and be like, look, this is what we offer, this is our value. We can help you guys reduce food waste, enhance your brand image as a sustainable business, and it's profitable at the end of the day, which I think is really important to mention. Therefore, we are aiming to revolutionize, honestly, this industry, and hopefully we can scale later on to other countries as well. And essentially, yeah, this is it. Thank you.
So you're not going to take our mezze away from us, right? Okay.
No, it's just it's a business model where we, let's say, for a buffet at a hotel.
I'm joking.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm really sorry, but we've run out of time, and we have an astounding speaker coming in next, Theo Pafitis. I'd like to thank all of the panel members for taking the time today. I think we've learned really a lot, and you know, I think if we're a little bit patient, you know, Cyprus was a different place in 2015. It was a different place coming out of COVID, but I think with policies and with, you know, some of the people that we see here today, I think we can all imagine it's going to be a different place in 2025 and 2030. And I'd like to thank everyone for that.
And thank you to you, Philip, as well, for a wonderful moderation and for being a great sport. If all the panelists could just remain on stage for a brief moment so we can just get a nice group photo. And the next discussion will be with Theo Pafitis. Thank you.